The morning of your wedding should be a dream come true, filled with calm anxiety and happy anticipation. When you're about to enter eternity, you get butterflies in your stomach. I had woken up early that day in our apartment. An apartment. Alina and I had furnished together with second-hand furniture, fragrant candles, and the soft tones of a color scheme she claimed helped her feel at ease. I made coffee and stood by the window, convincing myself that today was going to be perfect. Cup in hand, I looked out at the city I had always loved. Then came the text from Miles, my younger brother. "Don't go to your wedding, check your fiancé's closet." Now, Miles has always had a strange sense of humor, cryptic one-liners, practical jokes, especially when tension ran high. At first I thought this was his version of pre-wedding nerves. I chuckled and typed back a serious response. Now's not the time for this. But there was no winky face, no, just kidding, just silence. That was the first moment my gut flipped. Still, Alina had kissed me on the way out that morning, off to the bridal suite with her bridesmaids. She'd mentioned how excited she was to walk down the aisle. I could still smell her perfume in the hallway. I looked again at Miles's message. Then at the bedroom. The pillows were neatly arranged. Her robe, the soft blush one, was draped over the chair beside the dresser where she'd left the printed wedding itinerary. I walked to the closet. Her clothes were hanging perfectly, shoes lined up by color, scarves folded, bags tucked into, organizers. Too perfect. Then in the corner of the closet floor, I noticed a white shoebox pushed behind some boots. I pulled it out and lifted the lid. Dozens of glossy, candid photos, but not of us. They were of her and Grayson, her ex, the one she'd sworn was just a high school classmate. They were holding hands, laughing. He was brushing her hair back at some beachside restaurant. Wine glasses raised. One picture showed them shirtless in bed. I dropped the box, photos scattered across the floor, and then the papers spilled out. Printed emails. The top one read, "He's so naive. After I become his wife, we'll take the house, the company. He won't know what hit him." I froze, hands trembling, but I couldn't feel them. The world was collapsing. Her voice played in my head, sweet, silky, and poisoned. This wasn't just cheating. It was surgical betrayal, a con, a robbery of everything I had built. I stumbled back from the closet like it was about to explode. I gasped for air, sat on the bed, the same bed we used to lie in with the sun coming, through the window. This wasn't real. I was supposed to be putting on my tux, going over my vows. Not this. I grabbed my phone and dialed Miles. He picked up immediately. "You saw it," he said softly. I could only reply with one word. "Yeah." He told me he saw them at Barris 2 nights ago. Drunk, touching, whispering. He followed them out. Took pictures. Sent them to himself. "I didn't know how to tell you," he said. "But I knew. You wouldn't believe it unless you saw it." "You don't have to apologize," I whispered. I sat there for a long time, not crying, just hollow. Everything that had once been ours now felt alien. The fog in my mind lifted, and I started, shouting, but the screams were empty. I stood, walked to the living room, looked out the window again. But this time I wasn't just looking. I was calculating. I picked up my phone, took crisp photos of the pictures, the emails, the time-stamped notes. I uploaded them to the cloud, created an encrypted folder, backed it up. I opened the drawer holding her ring, stared at it a moment, too long. I wasn't going to that wedding as a victim. I checked the clock. 13 a.m., just over 5 hours before the man who knew the truth would be standing at that altar. My phone buzzed again. I ignored it, probably her, or someone from her side, wondering why I hadn't shown up yet. A groomsman texted about cufflinks. I couldn't respond. The apartment felt smaller, the air heavier. I walked to the sink and splashed cold water on my face. But no water could wash away betrayal. What would you do if the person you trusted with your life, your future, your heart, was planning to steal it all? I built everything I had. I wasn't handed wealth or privilege, no inheritance, just grind, compromise, missed birthdays, and long nights. And the woman I loved was planning to destroy it with a smile. I returned to the bedroom. The shoebox still lay open, the ghosts of their betrayal staring up at me. One photo had a date on the back, 2 months ago. 2 months ago, she was in bed with him. 2 nights later, she cried in my arms, told me she was scared, of how much she loved me. There was a letter folded in 4, her handwriting. "Today is going exactly as planned," she wrote. "He's eating out of the palm of my hand. Just a few more days and we'll leave with more than rings." My jaw tightened. Not explosive rage, not chaos, but that cold, sharp kind of anger, the kind that makes you think. I wasn't going to throw things. I wasn't going to scream. I was going to act. I grabbed my laptop, logged into all our shared accounts, changed passwords, set up biometric locks, even deleted that ridiculous wedding website with our picture under fairy lights. Then I accessed the business account, my lifeblood. Thank God I never added her name legally. She had no ownership, even though she liked to sit in on meetings and play the part. I made sure of that. My phone buzzed again. This time I looked. It was Alina. "Baby, the photographer says they'll be at the venue by noon. I haven't heard from you this morning. Everything okay?" Unbelievable. That smiling face, that casual tone, as if there wasn't a crime scene in our closet. I didn't respond. Instead, I pulled out a duffel bag and began to pack. I printed copies of every photo, every email, every letter. I organized them like evidence. Because that's what it was. I called Miles again. "I'm not canceling the wedding," I told him. "Let her walk down that aisle. Let her smile. Then I'll reveal everything." He was silent for a moment. "Are you sure?" he asked. "What do you need me to do?" I laid out the plan, the timing, when to cue the video, when to come in. He breathed deeply. "This is going to be brutal." She made it that way. By the time we hung up, I was dressed, not in a tux, in a sharp black suit, no boutonniere, no groom's flair. I wasn't walking into a wedding. I was walking into a reckoning. I locked the door behind me at 11:45 a.m., not sure if I would ever return, because that place was never home again.